Today's show, as always, sponsored by LivassaIslandApparel.com for gear that represents the South Pacific Island languages and cultures accurately and responsibly. Put on for the culture. Catch the wave at LivassaIslandApparel.com. Here we go. Welcome, everyone, to another episode of the Ballinesian Podcast here on the Polyticket Network, sponsored by Livassa Island Apparel, www.LivassaIslandApparel.com. Also, check him out on Instagram, Brother Eri. DMs. Get in his DMs and let him know exactly what you want to order from Livassa. Check him out on le_vassa on Instagram. We are here. Someone's talking about sports. I'm excited to get into one of the biggest games of the year. Sunday Night Football in Week 11. The Bengals at the Chargers, where the Chargers freaking stormed out to a huge first half lead before letting the Bengals get all the way back into the game before pulling out victory from the jaws of defeat. Has Jim Harbaugh broken the Chargers curse, Forrest?
Nah. Nah, whatever.
It
was a good move to hire him.
The Chargers were about to go down that road that they usually do, where they get a big lead, but then they find a way to lose a game that they really should have won. You have so many examples, that play-in game versus the Raiders, losing in devastating fashion, that playoff game versus the Jaguars being up 4 scores and then losing at the end of the game. Now it's like the wins are actually there.
Can't be mad at it. It's good to see for the game of football. Hate to see it because I'm a Raiders fan, but whatever.
Chargers are 7-3 after this game, 34-27. Justin Herbert. Everyone thought Jim Harbaugh and Greg Roman were going to keep him parked and just run the ball with 2-3 different running backs. Justin Herbert, 17 for 36, 297 yards, 2 touchdowns. Also, 5 carries for 65 yards. He's got that it's crazy to see him run because it's like you think he's like a tall, statuesque, in the pocket, not really moving around, a little bit of wiggle, but see a 6'5" guy find a lane and attack it and able to maneuver around the defense for even more yards. That's crazy. A 30-yard rush was his long.
But he was able to do that at Oregon. Although he's kind of big and people equate that to lumbering and not very mobile, he's got really good straightaway speed. If it's north and south that he's running, he's pretty fast. And it helps also that he's 6'5". He picks up more ground than, say, Kyler Murray, who probably has to take 6 steps to equal Justin Herbert's 2. So, as a runner, he's pretty good. He was good at Oregon, and then when he first came in, we saw it. He didn't have much of an O-line, so he did have to tilt the rock a little bit more than throwing it. Because he was always being pressured. So, we don't see it as often this season because, again, their game plan, like you said, Greg Roman came in and he's implemented a run-first game plan, which takes a lot of pressure off to Justin Herbert. And you do that, it also opens up lanes because they're not expecting him to run. They don't expect Justin Herbert to take off for 30 yards, So it gives them a lot more
options. Guarding the receiver or something.
Right.
They're not thinking, that big guy's gonna take off.
Also, Jake, you've seen Dobbins. He's a really good pass catcher out of the backfield. So you have to worry about that. You can't really spy Justin Herbert. He's not a quarterback that you would spy either. So ton of different opportunities for him now.
A lot of similarities between these two teams, the Bengals and the Chargers. Both of these teams needed this game. The Bengals needed it to stay alive. The Chargers needed it because it's the kickoff of a 5-game stretch that's versus a bunch of playoff teams that they're going to see. Both of these teams vying for an AFC wild card. Both of these teams with a quarterback from the 2020 draft. Joe Burrow went first, Justin Herbert 6th. And both of them questions at running back. You have Chase Brown now. Well, I guess coming into the season, questions at running back. J.K. Dobbins, Gus Edwards, were they going to be able to produce? Zach Moss, Chase Brown, which one of them was going to pull out ahead of the other. And it was Zach Moss before he's hurt, and now Chase Brown's taking over, and he's a beast. But I feel like they're on totally different paths. Like the Burrows, I mean, the Bengals this year should be like a freaking 9-2 team. The way that Joe Burrow is playing, the first quarterback to throw for 25 touchdowns, 5 or fewer interceptions through the first 11 games, and have a losing record. The rest of those guys, freaking Mahomes 10-1, Drew Brees 10-1, 9-2 and 10-1 for Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers 11-0, 8-3, 8-3. The worst that any quarterback that has done that well, his team has gone, is Russell Wilson 6-5 in 2019. But it feels like one of those coin flip games, and even after the game in the locker room and the press conferences, the players were just looking so defeated for Cincinnati. Just like, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what's going on. We're doing good stuff. It's just not working out. Go ask the coaches. That's not my job. Jamar Chase is saying. Joe Burrow just like quiet, it kind of sucks to see Joe Cool like not pumped up or confident, but he like was just brushing off questions, just like, we got to do better. Yeah, we got to do better. Yeah.
I think that speaks a lot more to the defense and coaching as well, because like you said, the numbers that Burrow is putting up on offense, and Jamar Chase is always out there putting up good numbers, and he takes a lot of the attention away from other receivers. They got T. Higgins back. Again, like you said, Chase Brown is running pretty well. Gesicki has emerged as a player. So, like, they're pretty solid on offense, and they can score points. We've seen that, but it's also not the offensive job to stop other teams from scoring points. And, they got guys like Hendricks, who rushes the quarterback, he gets sacks, but he also makes plays like the was it a late hit, or was it roughing the passer call that went against him that might have cost him the game also. So, I mean, their DBs are getting burnt. Like, you let Quentin Johnson score a touchdown on you, that's rare. So, I mean, that's also me hating, but yeah, no, yeah, their defenses, they seem like they're faltering late in the season when the offense is really going to need them to step up as well, because you can score so many touchdowns. You can score as many touchdowns as you want, but if your defense isn't stopping anybody, you're either going to keep the other team in the game or you're going to end up losing. So
the defense definitely let them down on this one. I think they're the Bengals had a chance. They had like a 25% chance to make the playoffs if things went right and they won a bunch of games. But now they dropped to like less than 15%, and the Broncos raised up to 50. I think the Colts are in like 8th place and threatening for that 7th seat. Yeah, again, Bengals are pretty much not going to make the playoffs unless some crazy stuff happens. It's just going to be the Broncos and the Colts going for that 7th spot. 1 through 6 for the AFC: Chiefs, Bills, Steelers with a big win over the Ravens, Texans. Those guys are like, and the Chargers are now 98% to make the playoffs. Nice. And that's factoring their schedule, and they need to win the games they need to win over the last 6 weeks. But yeah, looking pretty good for those teams. Any final thoughts on the Chargers? How do you feel about them? Like from the outside, I feel like I might be inside the bubble and but I'm also I don't believe it.
Years of trauma I've created. No, I like them. I like the Chargers. Again, you're talking about Jim Harbaugh. He went in there with a plan, put it out towards everybody, and it seems like everybody's with the plan. He went and got the guys that he needed to. Like, again, we said in the beginning, Greg Roman. He went and got J.K. Dobbins, to be the running back there. Kept his defensive guys. Didn't really change too much on defense. I think he just really emphasized on capitalizing on what they had on defense. They didn't even stretch. Like, I remember last season they went out, they got a big splash with J.C. Jackson, who didn't pan out, and I think that was because it wasn't a fit. with the defense, and so they didn't force anything this year with like a big signing,
Yeah.
trying to make noise in the offseason. They What they did, I think, really was just develop the guys that were there and make sure that they were with the defensive scheme. Again, they checked in with Justin Herbert, let him know what was going to happen, and he
They
trusted
played it
him.
perfectly. Yeah.
Yeah, and he trusted what they were doing. And again, people were questioning whether he was just like a game manager now, which isn't the problem.
Mhm.
Every game situation has it calls for different things, and Justin Herbert now they have everything they need. They got a good running game. They've got receivers like Prince Johnson stepped up. Palmer, the forgotten receiver, having a great second half to his season. So yeah, and Justin Herbert is still Justin Herbert, just in case you guys
Yeah.
forgot who he was and the skills that he had. So yeah,
The passes just look so crisp, like look like they're shot out of a jugs machine. But
yeah.
it's crazy. Yeah, Justin Herbert definitely having a good time
Definitely
with loaded boxes. He's a really good processor, can make all the throws.
big arm,
Back,
really big.
yeah, big arm, can sling it, can and put it in a basket 50 yards down the field. Back to Jim Harbaugh, in talking about the plan that he had. He did it well. Him and new GM Joe Ortiz. The other guy went to another team. Tom Telesco now GM for
He's
the
doing
Raiders.
fine.
That's
He's fine.
crazy. He's GM for the Raiders. Like he just went right. He went 4 hours away to play for a rival.
I think
But wait. But Harbaugh, Ortiz did it right, right? They, like you said, they didn't make any big expensive
no,
signings. It's a
no.
rebuild year, but they also brought in ballers, guys that wanted to ball, guys that like wanted their chance and like just wanted to play hard. And that's their system, right? Jesse Minter's defense, show up to the ball, quick, hit, wrap, tackle. Don't let these miss tackles. If you're missing tackles, Asante Samuel Jr., people are losing playing time because they don't wrap up and make the tackles. And I feel like that's a huge part of Jesse Minter's
But
defensive
that's
change is that
that's
the
most of it.
tackles are actually getting made. And he's scheming them up to be like, to take away some of their best players. Did their best against Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. Eventually they did, bust out in the end of the first half, in the second half. But I feel like this is the number one defense in the league by points allowed. They're doing a really good job of keeping points off the board, but I also think that's in tandem with the offense controlling the ball. But Harbaugh, the things that he's doing right, coaching up the players, freaking stuff like team high fives, everybody give each other a high five, like stuff like that. Who's got it better than us? Nobody. Like everybody just feeling good. Like it's a whole different
Find
mind.
your own phrase.
It's
That's the
it's
stage stuff.
it's a whole different mind change of positivity and gratefulness, and like it's brought a new energy and fire, and you can see it in the box score, you can see it in the win-loss column, you can see it out there on the field, and even in the interviews. The other thing he does is he hypes the shit out of Herbert. Like this guy looks, I think it's a game, right? I think to him, he knows that it's
We did
important
the
to
same thing
hype
with
up the
McCarthy.
players.
He did the
Right.
same thing with McCarthy
He did
this
the
year.
same thing with Andrew Luck at Stanford. He did the same thing with
Mm-hmm.
Colin Kaepernick in San Francisco. He probably did the same thing with whatever quarterback he had at San Diego.
I don't
Also,
think it's
California guy. All these
right.
teams are in California except for his alma mater, Michigan.
I don't think it's more him hyping them up. I think it's him just looking at the things that they do very, very well and him emphasizing on that. Like guys think we think hyping up usually consists of you just like trying to tap into like uh unused potential or trying to get something out of these guys. I don't think Jim Harbaugh does that. I think what he does is just really focuses on the things that you do well and talks about that a lot and makes you believe that all those talent that what you've been doing, you know what I mean? It just makes you think like, no, I am really great at that. So
I
and
can
then
make this throw. I
right
can make this catch. Quentin Johnston
things
busting out. Lad
right
McConkey off the rails going. Will
things
Disley.
things that
Oh my
they
gosh.
things that they already did well, and he just really goes and emphasizes and lets them know that yeah, you do that well. No one was telling you before, so you probably lost a little confidence in that. And what
Mm-hmm.
he does is just reassures you that just go out there and do the things you do well. Don't do anything more than that. You don't have to do anything more than what you do well. He got back to basics. So I like when you say it's a rebuild year, I don't know if it was much of a rebuild year. I think it's more refocus year. They didn't really go out and get anybody like you just said. Uh, they drafted well, and what they did was just refocus the basics with the guys that they already had. Like you said, Asante Samuel, great cornerback, but losing playing time because he can't tackle. Back to the basics. Go learn how to tackle.
Yeah,
Come back in the
fundamentals.
play. You can guard as much as you want. Uh, but sometimes guys are gonna make catches even in great cover. And if you can't tackle them after that catch, what good are you? So things like that, wrapping up on offense, guys learning how to block, blocking schemes, going back to simple things, running the ball, a dive, a sweep outside, off tackle, just simple things that they're doing now. They're doing them very well. As in before, they get behind in games. They had to reach for the yardage. They were going into their playbook, like probably deeper into their playbook than they wanted, and they were really stretching out Justin Herbert health wise. Like he had to run the ball. He got hurt, had a broken finger, hurt his ankle, and then he still had to come in and play through that because, of course, he's the best player on the team. I think he still is the best player on the team, but now he's able to stay on the field, stay healthy, and be the best player on the team, not just be named the best player on the team and not be able to perform to that
Oh,
level.
right. Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, just again, availability is always going to be your best ability. And Justin Herbert has been available all year. J.K. Dobbins, again, should be the comeback player of the year. I think so. With everything he's been through, the season he's having, he's been available all year, defensive wise. Um, also, he's been banged up a little bit, but compared to last year, he's been on the field. Same with Khalil Mack. Khalil Mack, he did sit out this last game, but he's also been able to play. So big difference this year with guys being healthy, guys being coached up the right way,
Coaching.
and showing a lot on the field. So I'm not surprised at the talent that's been on the field. Like I was not that I'm always telling you about Quentin, but I did believe Quentin Johnson is going to be a good receiver. I think he still has a lot of potential, and right now he's finally getting into it. Whatever they're showing him there, receiving wise, like maybe it's better route running. Uh, Again, maybe it's just his confidence now with, like you said, the way Harbaugh high fives guys or tells people things. It really makes a difference. If you guys don't believe so, you guys don't play for a great coach, or you've never played for a great coach who's really gonna be honest with you, but at the same time, not like kill you on the field about things, And
Yeah, still be encouraging.
yeah,
Quentin Johnson, last year was his rookie year, right? It
exactly.
takes a lot of people. Some of the really good rookie receivers, it takes them half a season. I mean, some other
Look,
receivers, it takes
some
them a
guys
season or
takes
two to kind of
yeah,
learn the league, figure out how to play
exactly.
defenses, how to connect with their quarterback. So that he's doing it in year two, I think is traditionally ahead of schedule. But because he was a first round pick, because he was the first wide receiver taken in that draft, uh, expectations sky high. And we know in the
Guys,
draft, expectations can be killers.
yeah.
Yeah.
People always forget that sometimes these guys come out a little early too, so they don't learn
Mm-hmm.
everything they need to
Yeah.
learn, you know?
Was he a?
He's a junior. Still though,
Um,
even guys that come out their senior year, there's still a lot to be learned.
yeah.
And
Adjustments.
also guys who have natural talent, sometimes they're let go with learning some of the stuff they're supposed to be learning because coaches, well, I mean, he's got that natural ability. He can do it. So and when they get to the league, it's like, damn, I didn't know how to do that when I just really got by with running by people or being stronger than everybody. So
Yeah.
lot of
Yeah.
factors, a lot of factors, and he looks good this year. That's what I'm trying to
Quentin
say.
Johnson, tall, strong, fast, really good with the ball in his hands. Maybe not the best at the point catch hands, but can,
Yeah,
run
yeah,
for
he oh
60-yard touchdowns on a broken tackle.
he did drop one that was like shouldn't have dropped, or like would have been a touchdown
Oh,
this
damn.
past game. So he looks good. But again, they brought in also guys like Lad McConkey. So totally, it's the same team, but at the same time, a totally different team.
Let's talk about a different team. The Las Vegas Raiders. Uh, I hear Vegas is the ninth island because there's so many islanders out there.
It's
What?
like there's a lot of so when people started migrating from Hawaii, when as people like to call it, they were priced out of paradise. The
Yeah,
cost
yeah.
of living just got too much. Vegas is one of those developing cities that But
Lots of flat ground out there
a
to
lot of flat
continue
ground,
building houses.
but also cost of living isn't bad there.
Yeah.
It isn't bad there. And people are like, well, I mean, the minimum wage is low because the cost of living isn't too high. Now, it probably will be rising in a few years, maybe because the city's starting to be full, it's starting to be more developed, and it's a place where people want to live. But yeah, Hawaii people, it's a lot. It's not it's harder than Hawaii, but the weather is still comparable to Hawaii. So, you know, and a lot of people in Hawaii like to gamble. So that's a big plus if you live there.
A lot of people that want to have money someday like to gamble. To be such a island-centered city and team, and to give Tua Tagovailoa this win to help his playoff chances, I think speaks a lot to how tapped in and in tune Vegas is with the Islander community. And it also helps the Raiders continue to get towards a good pick. 34-19 in Miami. Damn, hot. They probably made y'all wear the black jerseys too. This is a 10:00 game.
Yeah, you see the score and then of course because I'm a Raiders fan, people you just said the game at some points was a lot closer than the score indicates. Like they scored some of those touchdowns late when like the game was like already at hand. So, but during the game it was pretty close. Yeah. Different offensive coordinator, kind of the same outcome because you can't hope to do things with the same guys at quarterback. Nothing against Gardner Minshew. I think he's a great professional. I know he's won places. There's things he can do, but with this team, it's not sitting right for him. The line's a little busted. They're gonna have to work on the offensive line. Defensive line, of course, we know are missing guys. They lost Christian Wilkins for the season. Coombs, they lost for the season. So your best defensive tackle and your second best rush end gone for the season. They've always been a little light at linebacker, but Spillane, I think, is probably not working behind guys like Wilkins is pretty tough, to cover for you, like during the run.
Even with Max Crosby's still there, right? I mean, active. And the secondary. Would you say if you have guys going against the Raiders in fantasy, you should play them?
As an analyst, that's what I like to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. Because they're banged up. It's
right.
Yeah, they're banged up. They're not a very strong team at the moment. I can say that even as a Raiders fan. I say that objectively, not to bash them because again, I'm still a Raiders fan. But they still got two good corners. They're young. They're learning. People who are giving shit to Jack Jones about tackling. Look, he's gonna make a tackle when he's gonna make a tackle. But what he's out there for is to cover guys, and he does that very well. I don't have a problem if he doesn't make a tackle because he's not really whiffing on tackles. You watch the game, he goes after guys. Ja'Cory Ben's a little smaller. He's a little bit more willing of a tackler, but at the same time, smaller guy. He's out there to cover cornerbacks. They do that well. The good thing about some of these injuries this season, if you want to take away positive, is having guys like Polamalu out there getting playing time and him showing up. He's a little less talented, not talented, but he's not as good in coverage as probably Epps was, but he's getting there. But what he does do is cover the field well from sideline to sideline, from his position at the top, coming all the way to the line. He tackles well. He's always there to make plays. He's got a nose for the ball. A safety he's like 6'4", 220. That's a big safety.
That's a big Chancellor. Safety. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. So they can bring him down and he can play linebacker in certain sets. A lot of guys have been waiting for him to play. A lot of fans. There's just been so much noise about him every offseason. Coming out of USC, people were just like, "Oh, Polamalu's having a great offseason." We expect to be on the field, and then it comes during the season, and you don't really see him. You see him on special teams, and it sucks that it took a season-ending injury for Marcus Epps for us to get Polamalu on the field. But now we're seeing all the stuff that they were talking about these past couple of seasons.
This is why you have to have a good bench players, because when these injuries happen, you have to have guys that are replacement level at least.
you hear it, next man up, next man up.
Yeah, yeah.
Sometimes you don't have next man up. Sometimes
Sometimes
you
the next
have
guy is just a guy.
right. Sometimes you have the next. Sometimes you have the guy that's ready till next season.
Yeah.
But Baltimore is definitely. I think um, even
Nice.
after Marcus Epps' return, they're gonna have a decision to make whether to who to start now. But they're definitely gonna have to give Baltimore his playing time.
What year is Polamalu?
I think he's into this. Might be like his. I want to say third year, third or
Okay,
fourth.
so he's got a contract coming up soon
Yeah.
too.
So he does.
Yeah.
He also
Okay.
has a
So
contract
options
coming
for
up.
the Raiders.
Right.
Another really standout thing, even though I mean, I guess it's good you guys took a loss because we're going for a good draft pick. But Brock Bowers, Matt. Oh, shout out to Newly Votech Polytechnical, the Wildcats in
How
in
many
our
points did he
Polynesian
end up
League,
with? How many
bro.
points?
Oh, how many points did Brock Bowers have?
Yeah.
16 targets, 13 catches, 126 yards, and a touchdown. So 31.
About 31. Yeah.
I lost by 3 points. He also put in Anthony Richardson, who had like 30 points.
That's crazy because that no one expected Anthony Richardson of all people to come in and have a game like that. Now look, so away from fantasy football, it's not a surprise to a lot of people that Brock Bowers is having this type of season. What the surprise is, again, is that everybody complained so much about the Raiders taking the best player available because they had Michael Mayer, who again is still also a great player. And they used him again. He had his first game back coming back from personal issues, but he had a solid game too. He had some catches out there. You saw him blocking. He was on the field. So you know that the Raiders still have a plan for him as well because they're going to run a lot of 12 personnel, especially now with Devontae Adams not being there. They're going to run 12 personnel, which is two tight ends out there. So they got those two tight ends, Jacoby Myers. That's a great receiving core still. You know, people are going to be like, but those two tight ends. Well, if you're watching Brock Bowers this whole season, he doesn't look much like your regular tight end. He looks like a gigantic receiver out there. That's what he looks like, and that's what he's been playing like. So yeah, the surprise I think for people is just that maybe the volume at which the Raiders started to use him and the records that he's starting to break, that might be a surprise because he's a rookie, of course. And you're like, well, he's gonna have a great season, but not the best tight end in the league season. And if you're looking at me right now and be like, best tight
Yeah.
end in the season, yes, the best tight end of the season so far. You know,
Yeah.
yeah. You know what's crazy is he was projected to go to the Chargers first. The Chargers were looking for a little bit more offensive weapons, but they went with uh, also one of the greatest players they could have ever drafted from the greatest college ever in history, in the world, in the
Oh
universe.
my gosh.
Joe Alt. Hey, take it easy. He's keeping your quarterback clean. Joe Alt.
Yeah.
So we decided to draft Joe Alt, which is a great pick. I think if they went with Brock Bowers as well, that would have been what a weapon for Justin Herbert right now. Because you don't hear him much throwing to like his tight end, but he would have been Lad
Well,
McConkey times 10 because they are going to Lad McConkey a lot. But I think he's got ball skills that McConkey doesn't have at the moment. You know, even route running, he might be faster than McConkey, which is crazy. So,
Will Disley is tight end 18 on the season.
and also Will Disley though is having a great season. That's a great season for Will Disley.
Brock Bowers would have been better.
Which is what I was going to say next. Thank you for confirming what I was going to say.
But yeah, Joe Alt and locking up those tackles
worked out. Yeah, worked out because I mean you can't throw to Brock Bowers if you're on the ground. So I think Joe Alt was a really good pick.
Brock Bowers has 159.5 fantasy points.
He's got the rookie reception record right now. But that's secondary to him being like, I think he's got the most receptions in the league at the moment. I want to say just.
Sorry, Will Disley is tight end 18. Brock Bowers is player 18. in
in the
fantasy.
league now. Yeah,
Not including
in
quarterbacks. Well,
fantasy.
wide
Yeah,
receivers, running backs, and tight ends. He's the 18th best player in fantasy right now.
and you know what's crazy is everybody knows that the ball is going to him. That's the crazy part. Is like, and they said it on Sunday's broadcast. He's not quite Travis Kelce yet, but he's allowed to do Travis Kelce things. Like he's out there running his route, and then all of a sudden, it's like he's sitting in the part of the zone, like kind of like Travis Kelce does. They kind of just like give everybody else a route, then they give Travis Kelce the route that's on paper, but they're like, but just go out there and get open, Like,
Do this and that don't work. Do
right.
something else.
Make it look like the route that we threw, but go out there and get open. And that's kind of like what they did. Like there was a play where I think it was a third and like maybe 8, and there was nobody else that the ball was gonna go to. The commentators called it. They had a linebacker and a safety on Brock Bowers. Also credit to Minshew getting the ball between those defenders,
Dropping
but
it. Nice.
he was able to find the spot in between those defenders, sit there and get open. Even though it was a small window, he was able to sit there, get open. And then the next play, people were like, well, who else are you going to throw it to? 1st and 10, who did they go to? Right back to Brock Bowers. And so that's great to see, especially for me because he's on the Raiders, but just for a young guy like that to come in. I don't know about the end zone dance that he did. I won't condone that. But
What was it?
he did the Trump shimmy, as I'll call it. Same thing
Oh, the like
Chrome Jones did, yeah, at the fight.
shoulders.
But yeah, I mean, he gets open, and people are probably like, well, he needs to score more touchdowns. Well, he needs a little bit more help out there at quarterback. So if the quarterback can find
Yeah.
everybody else
Need
besides
to be in the red zone more
that,
often.
that too. So uh, they did what they
Nice.
did. Right now, I think they are in tank mode as a team. You know, um, yeah, it's tough to watch as a fan just because you're like you just really want them
Yeah.
to play, and they are playing hard. They're putting out guys there who are playing hard. Like we talked about last week, they got rid of the offensive coordinator, Luke Getsy, because they wanted to make some changes for the end of the season and try to win some games. Actively try to win. If they're gonna lose, I think the attitude is if they're losing, they're losing. But right now, at the point in this season, they might just be trying to stay in the contention for. I think what they want to do is get the top 2 picks because the top 2 picks this year projected uh, are 3 guys would be Travis Hunter, Cam, what's his last
Cam
name?
Ward.
Cam Ward and Shador Sanders. And of course, everybody's seen it. The Raiders have been looking for a quarterback for the past 3 seasons. So Cam Ward's projected, and him and Shador Sanders are projected to be franchise quarterbacks. I personally like Shador Sanders better. Uh, he's just one of those guys that goes out and plays like every game he plays the same. You know, what you get is what you get. And he plays hard. He knows what he's doing out there. Cam Ward, he seems to disappear at certain parts in the game, and I don't like that. Like anytime Miami looks like we're struggling, it's because he's not playing at that level that he's been playing at when the team's winning. You can directly, I think you can directly correlate them losing, Miami's loss this past weekend or a weekend ago. I think you can correlate that loss to his play.
Sure.
And Shador Sanders is like the whole team. They're winning. Them winning their winning season. You can correlate that to his play. And a lot of the times people were blaming Shador for like stretching plays or trying to get more, to their losing. But I personally like Shador Sanders better. I think
As
he's
a
a more
Raiders quarterback.
yeah, I think he's a more ready pro at
Mhm.
this point. I think Cam Ward still has some things to work about. He's a great quarterback. I definitely think he's gonna go 1, 2, or 3, no matter what I think. The Giants benching Daniel Jones.
Yeah.
Um, there's just there's a ton of teams looking to draft quarterbacks who are going to be at the top. So I think the Raiders right now are just trying to stay in that contention from 1 to 5, just be in that space to either draft them outright or maybe potentially move up if there's someone willing to pay with them for the first or second pick.
Trade down, take a DN, sign Aaron Rodgers, get another quarterback next year.
If another team signs Aaron Rodgers next year, I want to know his agent. I'm, I'm going to become something
So
where I get
good.
an agent,
So
and
good.
I'm going to hire him.
All right.
Man.
Yeah, so the Dolphins kind of stay alive in the AFC playoffs. They need to win, pretty much win out. They got a bunch of tough games coming up. Anything else on the Raiders? Any last updates? Any news before next week?
Just a lot of speculation now about whether or not they're going to bring AP back the next season. I think they do.
Oh,
I think,
what? Did he sign a contract?
He did. That doesn't mean anything in the NFL these days.
Oh, if they fire him, they got to pay him, though. So, I mean, I guess that's good for him.
Yeah, and I don't think they're willing to. I think they're just paying some other guys too that probably are not
right.
Now. Like I don't think they're willing to do that. And this is AP's first full season. I think they'll give him another season. They let McDoofus coach like.
Oh, they're still paying him. They're still paying
Gruden. So I think they'll stay with him. I think what they really do need is just better. They really do need better coordinators. I'll give Patrick Graham the benefit of the doubt because he's got some guys missing. But as far as offensively, yeah. And a lot of people are like, go get Ben Johnson. Why would, unless it's a head coaching job, I don't think he'll leave Detroit. But
go get Ben Johnson.
That'd be great. But like I said, how lucrative would it be to same position, unless you're one of those guys like, you know what, I'm going to go build.
As the head coach.
I'm still AP fan. I still like AP there.
Oh, yeah.
I'd like to give him another. But if they went that direction, also, I wouldn't be mad.
I mean, if you can get 80% of whatever the hell is going on in Detroit this last month, right. You're putting up 40 points a game with Shadur Sanders and Ben Johnson as the coach saying, the well runs deep, baby. Throw it to the tight end, flip it to the tackle, toss it to the quarterback, pitch it to the running back, touchdown 2 times. I don't know what the heck's going on. It's crazy.
I think we still need we get a quarterback. We're still going to need a running back because the running game right now isn't that great. And I think I'm old school. I still think we need a running game to jumpstart that passing game and vice versa. So there's just a lot of personnel that we're going to have to go through. And right now, I think coaching would probably be your best bet to start with, whether it be AP or not. I'm still an AP guy, so I'd like to see him coach at least another half of the season or a whole season. I think we do need a new offensive coordinator. I don't think Scott Turner is going to be the guy there, honestly. Even if they hired his dad to be his homie.
Can you show me how you do it, Dad? Yeah, hold this flashlight. Hold this playbook.
But the Raiders should be all right. I think they'll be all right next week.
Who do you guys got next week? What are the vibes?
I was just seeing who do we play after that?
Host the Broncos. Beat the Broncos. Go Raiders.
Yeah, that's the plan.
Nice. All right. There you go. Chargers, Raiders for week 11, week 12 coming up. The football season is quickly coming to a close, and we're going to be sad here in a couple months. But enjoy it while it's happening. Live in the moment. Before we hit our shout outs, we still got quick hits. Here we go. The Buffalo Bills have downed the undefeated Kansas City Chief. Josh Allen is a baller. 30-21 is the final score there in Buffalo. The Chiefs fall to 9-1. The Bills are up to 9-2. And the Bills now own the tiebreaker if they were to tie at the end of the season for a win-loss record. This is nice and all, but I feel like this is kind of how it goes. The Bills beat the Chiefs in the regular season. The Chiefs take a loss, kind of chill out, and then they revitalize, re-gear, kind of get mad again, and beat the Bills in the playoffs. Do you think if the Bills meet the Chiefs that they can beat them in the postseason?
I do.
Nice.
I think we're seeing the Josh Allen that everybody expected to see like this past season. Not that he's been horrible this past season, but I think they can. Because Josh Allen is playing. He's playing ball. And the Lions, they win 652. 150.
6-52.
That's crazy. We were just talking about Ben Johnson. That's and they're doing it without Aiden Hutchinson. So crazy. So 150 plus in the last 3 games. Is it Super Bowl or bust lens for the Lions?
You gotta say this team doing this well needs to win a Super Bowl, but I kind of feel like as a caveat, Detroit would be very, very happy with their loser Lions becoming like a deep playoff favorite. Like even if they lost in the championship game, the NFC Championship, or even if the Super Bowl, they still feel good about that. So I don't know if it's Super Bowl or bust. What about you?
I mean, Detroit's a working man's town, blue collar. Uh, I don't know, man. I think this might be the season Super Bowl bust for them. I think with fans and everything because they went last year. They got them so excited last year, and just the way they're winning this year.
Oh yeah, okay. Yes. Last year they got deep into the okay.
How do you capitalize on it but go to a Super Bowl? I think if they get to a Super Bowl and lose it, that's fine. But I think they at least need to get a Super Bowl.
And then the next year you can get to the Super Bowl and win.
Right. And win.
Or else someone's
going to
or else. The Pittsburgh Steelers, led by Mr. Unlimited Russell Wilson, are now 8-2 after beating down the freaking division rival Baltimore Ravens. Who do you think is most responsible for the Steelers' success? Because I did not see this coming.
Art Smith. Is that his name?
Herb Smith?
No, the offensive coordinator. What's his name?
The special teams coordinator?
Offensive coordinator.
Offensive coordinator. Oh, Arthur Smith.
Yeah, Arthur Smith.
Yeah, frick that guy.
You know what? He's a better offensive coordinator than he is a head coach.
Yeah.
The defense in Pittsburgh, they've always been great. They're playing the game at a next level again.
Mm-hmm.
But I think what Arthur Smith has been able to do with both quarterbacks, when Russell wasn't able to play, and he was able to come up with the game-specific plan for Justin Fields, because it's two different plans. You don't see Russell running quarterback sneaks or
right.
Yeah. So
they got a guy for that.
Exactly. So I'll give it to Art Smith for coming up with the game plan right now to keep them at 8-2.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay. What do we got next?
Also, possibly their kicker. Sorry.
Oh man, yeah! Shout out to the best kicker in the league, Chris Boswell, because it's not Justin Pucker. Chris Boswell has been the entire offense for multiple games this season for the Steelers.
He just won a game for them. They didn't score a touchdown.
He scored all 18 of their points and to beat their division rivals. But I also think, shutting down Lamar Jackson, the Steelers defense, somebody there, either the coordinator, Mike Tomlin somehow, TJ Watt has to be
definitely,
in the running for just what makes them such like a rugged team.
Defense is great, and I used to tell my teams in basketball this: if we score 3 points and the other team scores 0, we still won by 3 points.
yeah.
So if they never got the 3 points, they still wouldn't win, even defensively. And next, Broncos over Falcons, 6-38. Bo Nix went 28 of 33, 307, 4 touchdowns. And the defense, they did hold the Falcons to 176 passing yards. They did bench.
Cousins for the last couple drives.
People were overreacting. They were like, "Oh, he might be benched for the rest of the season. Get out of here."
Game was out of hand.
Right, game was out of hand. But anyway, what percentage do you give the Broncos in winning the Super Bowl this year? In the next 3 years, I mean, what quarterback does for rebuild? You see what the quarterback does. So is Bo Nix also the guy right now?
Man, Bo Nix feels like Sean Payton's little Drew Brees Frankenstein. Like he wanted Drew Brees to be a little bit taller and able to run more. But if Drew Brees would have just listened to him, he could have had the perfect offense. And Sean Payton having that kind of having a fun time and being an offensive kingmaker there and able to compete in the AFC right? Like, or in the AFC West, because all these teams
At
are.
least be competitive. At least be competitive. Right.
Yeah. So, I mean, look, you guys are a playoff team. They're about to, yeah, they have the 7th seed right now. And if they just take care of business, they got their own, destiny in their hands. They control their own fate. They control their destiny if they
so
win.
what percentage do you give them making
winning the Super Bowl this year, beating the best of the AFC, beating the best of the NFC? I'd say like a less than 1% chance for the Broncos. Like they can't, but I feel like that's a lot.
That's
because
a lot
because they have a team that can score that you don't expect it, and they have a defense that can like play really good defense that you don't expect it. Right. So you could go in. This is one of those trap games in wild card round where but I don't think they could go to the Super Bowl. And if they get to the Super Bowl, I don't know if they're beating the Lions. But they have that potential, which is I think a lot for this point of the Sean Payton era, and definitely for Bo Nix's first year. And then over the next 3 years,
maybe
like a 6% chance.
5 more percent. Okay. I think Broncos right now would take that just in the way they've been playing the past few seasons. I think for Broncos fans, that's a lot. So I like it. 1% this season and an extra 5 for the next 3.
The 2-8 Browns scored 14 points against the 4-7 Saints, who scored 35. Running back / up back / tight end / team captain / special teamer Taysom Hill, 42 fantasy points in the tight end slot. 7 catches, 138, or 7 rushes for 138 yards, 3 touchdowns, as well as 10 targets, 8 catches, 50 yards. He also threw an interception, so he was checking all the boxes in this one. Is Taysom Hill going to score like this? Or, I mean, not like this much, but score more or score kind of like this over the next seasons? Or was this an absolute fluke, like a game, situation that just got out of hand for him specifically?
Look, as long as their quarterback situation is what it is, I think he has the potential to score like this every game, because it's like, man, who else is going to do it? They do have, what's his name at running back again? Kamara, but like, who's going to get him the ball? So it's much easier for him. He can catch it. He can run it. He can throw it if he wanted to. He can do all of those things on his own. It's literally, he can do whatever he wants when he has the ball in his hands now. So just depending on the coaching staff on what they want to do with the guys. But I do think he can score high consistently the rest of the season.
I like it. Okay, so like 12 plus points the next 3 weeks to close out the fantasy regular season?
I think like 15. I think
15 at least. 15 is the floor at tight end. That's crazy. But that's the usage that he gives you, because ain't no other tight ends getting, carries from the running back spot or, split out like that so much. Or he's also the red zone running back, so you get touchdowns in there too. Ooh, that's true. Okay, so,
yeah. So yeah.
If Taysom Hill is available in any of your leagues, are you getting him and starting him?
At tight end, yes.
Yeah.
At tight end, yes.
Yeah. Because sometimes you can also start him at quarterback because they also have that designation.
When they mark him, yeah. So I think they should really just designate a position for him, like where he can play all 3. Like you can put him in fantasy. Yeah, I think.
Yeah, Shohei, Travis Hunter,
right.
Just to have that super flex.
Exactly. Just super flex. So yeah, Packers 7-3. They barely eked out a win against the Bears, who are 4-6. They went 20-19 in that. It was tough, man, because they won off of a blocked field goal. So, I mean,
back-to-back weeks.
Back-to-back weeks. Happened. But again, Caleb Williams, the number 1 pick in the draft, is the quarterback for the Bears, not having the greatest of seasons. How bad do you feel for Caleb Williams at this moment?
I think he kind of set himself up for this. He came in way too hot. But I am starting to feel pretty bad. Just like, not only is he playing winnable, he's playing winnable football. It's just that crazy things are happening. The field goals, the defense is giving up. His team's not making the field goals. The other team's making a game-winning field goal. So this 4-6 Bears, they could have been, 6-4. They could have been in the wild card for the NFC. And I feel like that would have helped a lot with his confidence. And I don't think Caleb Williams has lost a lot. So this is kind of, I feel like, a trying and maturing season for him. Like he's going to have to learn and figure this out and want to become better on top of this and not want to like lose anymore. But he's in a really tough division, really tough conference. And they blocked a field goal to win. The Packers. Do you feel super hyped about the Packers, or do you think they're fluky?
I don't think they're fluky because I think they were just about the same team last year. I do. I think they're a playoff team, whether it be a wild card or like, just beyond the wild card. But I do think they're good enough to at least play, at least be the wild card spot in the playoffs. Jordan Love still has some things to work out, but he's a really good quarterback. They've got a ton of young wide receivers, which is scary for other teams because it's like any of those guys have put up really big numbers. Yeah, like throughout this season, there have been different guys that put up big numbers. So he doesn't have a shortage of guys he can throw to. So also got a pretty good tight end in Kraft who scored no fantasy points this past Sunday. Kraft. So
Tucker Kraft.
Man, broke my heart. I won, but it's hard to see a fat zero in your starting lineup. And you're like, what the?
What do you think about this new rule? If you have someone that scores a 0 or less in your fantasy matchup, you have to shotgun a beer or something. If you forget to put somebody in and there's somebody on bye, that's a shotgun. If you start somebody and they just don't catch any of their targets, that's a shotgun. I was thinking we should have a rules convention with everybody and figure things out for.
I don't mind. I'd probably exchange it for like a bong rip. But
yeah. And send it to the group.
I like it.
The Aaron Rodgers Jets spiral continues. Colts 28, Jets 27. The Colts move up to 5-6, kind of stay in the back end of that AFC wildcard. Well, the Jets are 3-8, out of playoff contention. They have fired their general manager Joe Douglas this week. They fired head coach Robert Saleh a couple months ago. He's having fun in Green Bay right now as a offensive assistant. But the Jets, not doing great. Anthony Richardson returned. He went 20 of 30, 272 yards and a touchdown with 10 rushes, 32 yards, and 2 rushing touchdowns. Anthony Richardson being that guy. It's his second season, but just 11 games into his career. How do you think he's doing, and how can the Colts make him better?
I think he's doing as to be expected. A lot of people don't realize that he didn't start like multiple years at Florida before he got to senior year. He didn't even have a great senior year. He had a great combine.
Great tape.
Right, great tape. Physically, his talents physically were crazy. His size, his speed, his strength, his arm. So everybody looked at that and saw the potential, which why he was drafted so high. But I think he's exactly where I think he should be. There's a lot of development that still needs to. Like, I don't know if he reads defense as well, just the decision making. So I think he might be ahead of where he's at. That's just on his legs. That's why, because he can get out there and he can run, score with his legs.
That's the cheat code. That's the extra wrinkle now.
And I think what they need to do is find out a game plan that simplifies things for him, so he can learn what he needs to learn, and he doesn't have to make too many decisions out there. Maybe shorter routes out there, just middle routes, 5-yard, routes where at least the ball is moving and you can still get into like first downs without having to go deep into your downs, like third down. And you don't want them to always be like at third down and 8 or third down and 7. If you can get to like 3rd and 2, things like that, and just make the game plan a little bit more simpler for him. So, he can still use his legs when he's into trouble, but at the same time, can still make those decisions of where to throw, who to throw it to, and not having to try to make a 70-yard bomb highlight play every time.
Keep it in front of you. Keep it over here. Just make it quick decisions. Make it maybe cut off half of the field one side. That's the other thing. NFL defenses are made to stop the run or stop the pass. If you
Right.
have a third phase in your offense, if you can run, if you can pass, and if you have a passer that can run, so many holes when it's man to man and the defenders turn their backs and run upfield. So
Right.
many holes when the zones are just sitting there and you have certain blockers able to leak in sort of like a flood block package. So yeah, Anthony Richards, that Cam Newton mold is like, if you
Right.
can, you don't have to be Cam Newton. You can be Brock
No.
Purdy. You can be Patrick Mahomes and just have that wiggle and know when to go. That is still unlocks another level to offenses.
And I know it's not a big NFL scheme that they use, but I think in college they use it well. I think it'd be real good for him at this time. Would be like RPO, so that way he can. It's a really quick decision on where to throw it. If he's not open, you're running or you're handing it off. So they could probably implement a little bit more RPO for him, so that way he can. If it's not there, if the passing lane's not there right away, then he knows where he's going. He doesn't have to take two more, looks into his progression. So we'll see. We'll see. Hall of Fame coming up. It's a really big class
Yeah.
for the 2025 nominees right now. I seen a couple of charges on it. I tried my best not to put any of them on the list, but it's hard to ignore. It's hard to ignore Antonio Gates because he was so dominant, and he's a basketball guy, so makes it tons more better.
Kent State.
Yeah, so I mean, if you have to pick four players who are getting in this year, there's a ton of first ballots too. So, but if you have four players who are getting in this year, who's getting in the Canton?
Shout out to Mike Fiso who posted this to our show group chat. The Adam Schefter has the possible nominees for the finalists here. Eli Manning, Luke Kuechly, Steve Smith Sr., Earl Thomas, Adam Vinatieri, Jared Allen, Terrell Suggs, Antonio Gates, Marshall Yonda, James Harrison, Vince Wilfork, Willie Anderson, Torrey Holt, Anquan Bolden, Reggie Wayne, Jari Evans. Oh, damn, Saints. Okay. Rodney Harrison, Eric Allen, Robert Mathis, Fred Taylor, Hines Ward, Ricky Waiters, Richmond Webb, Steve Wazinski, Darren Woodson. My top four getting in this year were Adam Vinatieri, Antonio Gates, Eli Manning, and Luke Kuechly. Who do you have as your first four in?
That's a good list, man. You know what? It was pretty hard to pick from that list, but there are guys like I think Vinatieri definitely should get in. I like Vinatieri. So I'll go Vinatieri. I do think Gates deserves to get in. Fred Taylor, the things he did for the Jags, I think also deserves to get in. That's three. And then, man, Steve Wisniewski. Just because he's a Raiders great and was always
Oh,
solid
okay.
as an offensive lineman. So those are my guys. But everybody else, like some of the guys, like the guys you put on your list are super deserving. Hard to pick from guys like that, but yeah, that's my list.
There's all the way they do the NFL Hall of Fame entrance now. There's a certain number. There's like six for our new players, and there's a couple for non-players, and there's a few spots for like legendary players, players that have been on for like 40 years or something. So yeah, that's gonna be dope to see. Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson last Friday. Did you watch it?
Oh, I did. I didn't know
why. Jake Paul won by decision. Mike Tyson, like a bull for the first two rounds, and then he kind of looked tired, and Jake kind of just kept popping him in the face, and walking him down, kind of walking around, making making Tyson chase him. Free on Netflix. Was it worth it?
Yeah. Again, like I told somebody else, it's not free on Netflix because you pay for your subscription. So you prepaid.
Oh yeah. I've paid hundreds of dollars over the last couple of years to watch this match.
Exactly. Yeah, entertainment value. I mean, it was worth it because they also had some good undercard fights.
Right.
But the fight itself, just leave all the hype into it. You have to watch it. The outcome, whether Mike Tyson lost or not, he didn't get knocked out. That was worth it.
$20
But
million for Mike Tyson, $35 million for
what I'm
Jake
saying,
Paul.
no loss. I think Jake Paul got a lot more than that. But no loss, I guess, for Mike Tyson. But of course, if you're watching for entertainment value,
Okay.
worth it. It wasn't much of a fight. Tyson he looked tired. He looked old. He also just, I mean, when you watch all the conspiracy videos, it kind of looks like maybe he was holding back. Maybe,
Nah, yeah. I mean,
you know,
the videos like when he's doing the bag, like he's doing the bits and like hella fast and stuff like that.
that's training. That's training.
Yeah. That's like 20 seconds of training. That's like a clip. But to go
they're
16
like
full minutes standing on your feet, swinging out your shoes, getting punched
I
in the
think
face.
I think he's still able to do it. I'd watch him fight.
Okay, yeah.
Not that fight, maybe like a more meaningful fight where he's actually going to fight. I also think it was just something that I don't know if it was rigged, but I also know that I'm pretty sure Mike Tyson fights a lot better than what he looked like in the ring. Even at 58 years old, people are like, he's 64.
Oh.
Stop playing. He's 58.
You think he could have knocked him out, but it was for money? They had to keep Jake Paul going?
I think if they were fighting for real, I think Jake Paul could have knocked him out too. I'm not saying that Mike Tyson alone could have whooped.
I needed to see that. I needed to see him stop playing with his food and actually knock Mike Tyson out.
I mean,
even if he's 58, hey, they physically okayed him to participate.
No, if they're gonna fight, yeah, I totally get that. Mike Tyson jumped in the ring.
Sad to see, old man,
but I just think that they both weren't fighting at where they could have fought it. More disappointing that at least go like 3 rounds where you're just like knocking the shit out of each other, and then like if you wanted to go the whole round, no one get knocked out, you don't want to embarrass Mike Tyson. Like if you could knock him out, at least by the 3rd round, you'll know by then going forward, you're like, all right, let's slow it down a little bit. I won't knock him out because he's like my hero, as Jake Paul says. Both get paid. Mike Tyson, it's a win for Mike Tyson.
At the end of the last round, Jake Paul like bowed down, but there was still like 5 seconds on the clock.
Right.
So someone was like, yeah.
I would have hit him.
Mike Tyson had the chance to do the most funniest thing.
I would have hit him. So again,
you gotta fight until the bell rings, man.
These fights aren't professional fights. It might have said that.
Entertainment.
Fight on paper, different entertainment. He picks guys who people are gonna want to see in the ring. Like it's like, I don't know if you guys remember Celebrity Deathmatch MTV used to do. It's kind of what I liken it to without the death matches. But I think I would like to see him. He came out. He called out Canelo, even if Canelo's a little smaller. I think he whacked.
Bro, Jake Paul has already lost to a real fighter, right? Tyson Fury's which one's Fury?
The brother.
Tyson Fury is the big brother, right? So his little brother, Jake Paul, lost to like you quote unquote real boxer, right? He's fighting old guys. He's fighting
MMA fighters who stand up. Like they're not stand up fighters, guys like that. Javante came out and called him out, and he's over there like, oh, he's good and he's taller than that. Bro, that fool will mix you real quick.
He's okay. So, but the way he built his like boxing following, brand, money, and the way like Canelo has just won everything. Like he's like fought to get his brand, right? But Jake Paul is kind of like stunted and fought to get his brand, right? So I mean, but I of course would watch Canelo Paul. I of course would watch that. And Jake Paul knows that he can get money to entice people to come out, and he's going after the best boxer in the world. That's that's going to be crazy money. Jake Paul would probably lose, but it's entertainment because people want to see Jake Paul get knocked the fuck out. That's why half the people are tuning in to see Jake Paul finally get knocked out. Is he going to fight someone that can knock him out? I mean, that's what we were all hoping with Tyson, right? The left hook, come on, just catch him. One time, Mike, one time. Come on.
Mike Tyson's also like, he's also about entertainment. He does a lot of stuff like, appearances and stuff like that. He's already into He's been into his retirement. He fought Roy Jones Jr. You saw
Yeah,
that fight. That
yeah, like
was
4 years ago.
that was an okay fight, but like the guy is into his retirement already. I mean, if you guys really thought he was coming out to like, if you thought there was any animosity between them, like real animosity between them, then obviously you guys don't watch WWE wrestling.
Hey,
You know, because the storyline is about the same. Because all of them, you know, Jake Paul's he's again a big fan at the end of the fight, bowing down to him at the end of the fight, which it was entertainment, like you just said. So I think if he wants to fight someone that's not an actual fighter or like an active fighter right now, I think his best bet would be to fight David Tool. That would bring in money, and that would also give us what we want. Because
yo, Uncle Tua. Oh man,
that fool
yeah,
still looks like he could fight professionally
yeah.
if he wanted to.
He
Again,
stays in shape.
yeah, he's 53, but like he trains. He's a trainer, so he trains with these fighters. He's active in the fight scene in New Zealand and Australia. So you know, I was brought up. I said, "Oh yeah, he's a little active in New Zealand and Australia." Yeah, yeah. So I really like to see him fight Jake Paul. It'd be good.
Yeah, it'd be
Yeah,
awesome. It'd be
yeah,
awesome.
awesome, man. Like,
Lakers rookie Dalton Knecht, nine
man,
threes versus Utah.
look,
Nine threes.
but how many games before he hits 9 threes again? What do
That's
you
what
think?
I wanted to ask you.
Don't
This is
ask me. I'm not a Lakers fan. I don't think he's ever going to hit nine again.
right. This has only happened 250 times in the history of the NBA. Someone's hit nine threes, right? The record is 14 by Clay. The record in the playoffs is 12 by Dame Lillard. But it only happened 250 times in all the
But
NBA
look,
players, in all the NBA seasons, all the
also,
NBA games, only 250 times.
it's hard to hit 9 threes again after you hit him the first time because now people are like, yeah, don't let him shoot 9 threes
Don't.
because
Yeah,
he
yeah,
can
yeah.
make 9 threes.
The
So,
Lakers kind of fell out of their offense because they were pushing it to him like, come on, rookie,
right,
keep
go
check.
ahead,
And
do it. Yeah,
he was banging him.
yeah.
Uh,
So
but that's why I put that question. I was like, I don't think this is going to happen very
I
often,
think, you know
especially
what?
now. Good point. Teams are going to know
Yeah,
this guy
they
ain't
know
no
this
fluke.
stuff.
He can put it in the bucket. He can fill
He
it
is
up.
a shooter, though. I mean, I'll give him 2 seasons and maybe he'll get close to that attempt.
Like
I think.
eight, he'll get
Yeah,
8 within the next two
yeah,
seasons. Okay,
I
yeah,
think so.
yeah, that's fair. Before we finish, can we? I need to rank the best Thanksgiving side dishes. First of all, do you like turkey?
I do. If it's not dry.
I feel like it's dry more than half the time.
There are we've had some pretty good turkeys the past couple of years. So
Nice.
I'm also a fan of deep fried turkey. So yeah,
Okay. Crispy on the outside, keeps all the juices on the inside.
yeah.
The sides is where it's at for Thanksgiving, right? If you have a lot of sides, you have a really good spread. You can have just one main thing in the middle, but the sides, that's where the variety happens. That's where the different seasonings, different tastes, different textures all comes together. That's where
Look,
everyone
look.
brings their best. You know what I'm saying?
Now look now. Size are a matter of perspective.
True. I was wondering how many of these we might have in common, but it
I'm,
could be totally different. We could have none of these
like,
the same.
I'm half Filipino, I'm half Samoan. You have a problem when I say like if I say like you say, what are your top six? And if I say ham, don't get mad at me.
Second, turkey.
Like the roasted pig.
Oh man! All right. So, what is your number one favorite Thanksgiving side dish?
Stuffing.
I like stuffing. Stuffing is great.
Stuffing
Is
is
that
great.
is that out the box? Is it all
I'll take it.
natural?
I'll take it either way. But if it's Thanksgiving, people are gonna go
Yeah,
all
you
out
would.
stuff.
Sorry.
Oh yes, yeah. Um, I was gonna say something totally inappropriate, but uh, we'll save that for another show.
Save it for the Patreon.
I love stuffing. Stuffing's good. If it's gonna be for Thanksgiving, someone's gonna make it like from scratch, even better. But
Nice.
if it's a stovetop bread. If I have to go make my stovetop on the side where I'm gonna make some stuffing. we're gonna eat stuffing regardless. That's just a fact.
Uh, my number one Thanksgiving side is also my number one side for a lot of things. Mashed potatoes and gravy.
Ooh,
Make these.
that'd be my number two.
Nice. Okay, see, I have stuffing at number two, so we have
Okay.
those. Those are
Yeah,
staples, but done
those are.
right, they not only elevate the food, but they're a whole nother
Yeah, for
dish
sure.
of excellence by themselves. All right, what do you have at number three?
Number three for me would be mac and cheese.
Yep, I
Yeah,
also have mac and cheese.
also, yeah.
Uh,
Also,
what kind of Thanksgiving mac and cheese do you guys usually have? Is it in an aluminum pan or in a glass dish or?
either one. And then so just to guys let you know, mac and cheese is supposed to be thick. If your mac and cheese is soupy, please go and redo it. Just,
No.
it's supposed to be thick. It's supposed to have a cheese pull and not just from the top when you're pulling it. Anyway, just don't make it soupy, please.
All right. Number four. So we got stuffing and mashed potatoes, either at 1 and 2, and then good mac and cheese. Have you heard of Tinny's mac and cheese?
No, I haven't.
There's a viral dish happening. This was like a cook on TikTok. Me and Sammy did it last year. It was really good. But she updated it for this year after she was on Next Level Chef with Gordon Ramsay. She updated her recipe this year, and there are literally stores running out of the specific ingredients that she suggests to use for them. It's like a viral mac and cheese. I need to look up the stuff, but it's really good. What else do we got for Thanksgiving sides?
Again, like I said, I'm Filipino, so it's probably not a regular side for a lot of people, but we do pancit at Thanksgiving as well. So we'll have like a tray of pancit, which is Filipino noodles. We'll put some shrimp in it too, like small shrimp for it. So yeah, that would be like my fourth.
Bacon wrapped asparagus or bacon wrapped green beans, like an oily cooked bean. Is something I like. Pancit is noodles.
Yes.
It's like traditional noodles. Okay.
Traditional Filipino noodles.
What else is there? I feel like that's like I'm good with the trio. Mashed potatoes and gravy, stuffing, mac and cheese, and a couple of like turkey slices, ham slices.
For sure. But I mean, if you had to, we also do it for like it's more of Christmas for us, I guess. But now I won't mention it. I was gonna say a soup. It's a Filipino soup called arroz caldo. But we usually do that for like New Year's or Christmas, so we'll leave it at that. I was gonna add that too.
What is it? What is in there? You said arrows, rice.
Yeah, arroz caldo, rice and chicken. You put some garlic in there, some ginger. It's the soup is a little thicker. Oh, I like it a little thicker, so super good. Man, I mean, a lot of people are gonna say like yams, but I don't really do yams. So
oh yeah,
yeah.
I do like good sweet yams.
Yeah, or what is the sauce that everybody uses at
cranberry sauce?
Cranberry sauce.
Because your turkey is dry, so you need to add sauce to it.
Yeah,
and
that's what soy sauce is for. I'm kidding. Look, a lot of people gonna look at me like this fool is lying, but make a little green salad at Thanksgiving. Ain't hurt nobody.
Yeah. No, I mean, and it's always a good mix. I like to get a colorful plate, like a lot of different foods, and definitely having the white and brown of the mashed potatoes and gravy, the yellows and oranges of the mac and cheese. Right. You got the green beans. You got the bread, bacon.
Look, again, I'm Filipino, so like I said, most of our holidays are also going to have like finger food. So a lot of the times lumpia is going to be like a staple.
Yeah. Sorry. Yes.
Yeah. Any of our family holiday get-togethers or dinner, we're probably going to have some lumpia there. So lumpia would be my 6.
I do like the carrot sweet potato melody. Maybe some potatoes in there. But yeah, let us know if you guys have any other Thanksgiving sides that we absolutely missed or that you would suggest and drop those recipes.
But just know if you're coming to Thanksgiving on my place, of course, the turkey and the ham but you're also gonna get stuffing. You're also gonna get some pussy. That's a guarantee.
Nice. I'm so ready to eat.
I mean, me too.
All
So,
right. Shout outs before we go. You got any shout outs?
oh man, shout out to my guy, Cookie, man. He lives out in Vegas. Him and his wife Erica, they just had a baby girl yesterday.
Hey.
So, cheers to new life. My guy Cooks, he's got two beautiful boys already. Now they have a little girl. So great to see, man. Always great to see your people like celebrating things like that. New life is always just
Amen.
great to see, man. Shout out to Jaden Mayala, first Polynesian quarterback out of USC, had a great game. He had an interception, had some questionable throws, but also had 4 touchdowns that he was accountable for, and a win, which USC eagerly, badly need to pick up. Amidst all the controversy going on there, coaching and recruits decommitting. So, yo, if you guys are thinking about going to USC, playing football, if you're a top recruit, trust in Jaden Mayala, keep your commitment. And again, with the coaches who have the same sentiment, if you're committed and you're taking visits to other schools, you're not really committed. So, yep, shout out to Jaden Mayala.
Yeah. Shout out to the Polyticket Network, Cepha, Oh Hello Marcus on the Polyticket Podcast and the Patreon. Definitely check the links in the bios, scroll over to them, follow, subscribe, rate. There's also the Patreon at the Polyticket Podcast that you can follow for even more. I feel like that's where it really goes down. That's where we can be open, and there's a community chat. There's like
it's cool because a paywall really lets you loose. You know what I mean?
Yo, yeah.
It's kind of like, like if sometimes
it's just me and my friends here,
right? Sometimes I mess up on this shit because we're not on a paywall, and I'll be saying some shit, crazy shit. But I also want to reiterate what Seppa said on the last show. Lance, I just want to say thank you for your service and get the hell out.
I didn't do anything.
Marcus said, "What the hell is going on?"
Oh, they used me in this trap.
That's too funny. No, yeah, go out, check out the Patreon. You get Lance. Most of the time, you get Marcus and Seppa. But behind the paywall, you also get all three of them in there. You know, talking about a lot of cultural stuff, a lot of just stuff that you're talking about anyway, and you get to hear perspective from three funny, generally great guys, all very talented in the music business. You know, all three of them have been in the music video before. One of them shot a music video in the back of my truck in American Samoa. So yeah, great.
Can you open a bottle with a CD?
Can I? No, I've always wanted to. And
can I? Nice.
I think you have to be from Off the Rock to do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, shout out to them, man. That's it's a great network to be a part of. You're a part of the network. So
where you're watching Lupe Falele, Soaring Doves. It's a documentary from Daniel Boesi. So that'll be next on the Pacifica Movie Starter Kit. What do we have next week for? Man, we got to get ready for Christmas soon. But yeah. A lot of stuff happening. We'll see you guys next week. Thank you for tapping in. Definitely follow, share.
Christmas shopping. Be sure to hop on the bus. Got you some early Christmas gifts right now before the rush. Before Eli has to, ship all that stuff. Yeah, shipping. Man, because it takes time. And you guys are always going to try to get things to you on time before Christmas and stuff like that. So try to get your orders in early. There's a lot of cool stuff. I'm sure he still has a few of the tie-dye sweatsuits left, the sets. He's got a ton of t-shirts. The stampage, the postage stamps being some of my favorites. Get out there. He's got some other stuff on there. Just like we said at the beginning of the show, Len said, get in his DMs.
You know,
Hey, slide in those DMs. Let them know what you want.
get your orders ready.
That's funny. Yeah, thank you everybody for listening. Appreciate you guys. Like, subscribe, follow. We'll see you guys next week. Stay hydrated, stay blessed, stay balling. Love and light. Peace.